There are two laws. One of them is make others come to you, and the second law is use absence to create honor and respect. If you're always going after the other person, if you're always the pursuer, etc., they start to take you for granted. If you're too much in people's face, if you're texting them every day, if you're emailing them and calling them all the time, there's no sense of mystery.
Women are not attracted to the safe guy. They're attracted to the guy that they don't understand or that they have to figure out or they feel like is mysterious. Don't overly explain to her what you're doing. Don't try and be too comforting. Don't offer explanations for things that you don't have to. Like, if you can inspire jealousy, do it. It's always gonna help. Guys always wanna like assure a girl that they're the only one and this and that. And it's like, you know, if you're in a committed relationship, like, okay, fine. But in the dating process, you absolutely should not be convincing her that she's the only girl that you're talking to. Because what does that do? That lets her know that, like, you know, she's got a lot more power than she does.
But if you allow 2 days or 3 days to go by where you don't call them, all right, you might think it's a little bit cruel, but no, that's part of seduction. It's part of the mating game. Don't worry about cruelty. Cruelty is part of seduction, actually. You have to be a little bit cruel, okay? So you wait a few days. In that space, they're going, maybe he or she doesn't like me that much. Maybe there's something I said that was wrong. And they start thinking about you, and they start trying to think about what they can do to please you. You've got them, then you've seduced them. The moment they're starting to think about you, that's half the game. And if you're constantly in their face, you can't allow that to happen. But if you're too absent, 2 weeks go by and you're never there, you're just going to make them angry. You're just going to make them forget you. You're going to think that you're not trustworthy. You have to know the delicate balance between absence and presence. And the idea is, if you're always going after the other person, if you're always the pursuer, etc., they start to take you for granted, right? Sure. You're always the one calling and texting. You're in their face constantly, thinking that that's the way to make them love you. You're also creating that they take you for granted. They think you're so familiar that they have you wrapped around your finger a little bit. And unconsciously, they lose a bit of respect. They may not say it, but it'll come out in their behavior. And over time, you know, the spell of love will kind of diminish. So you want to step back. You want to create some distance, some absence, and you want to make them come to you instead of you going to them. If you make them take a move towards you, then the game is reversed. The dynamic is reversed. Now the power is a little bit more on your side. One of the greatest male seducers that ever lived was Errol Flynn, the actor. The power that Errol Flynn had, I had to study and figure out what was the secret to success. It wasn't really anything he did. He was completely undefensive. There wasn't a defensive bone in his body. He was open, non-judgmental, and women would say that when you would get into a room with him, you were afraid of this guy. 10 minutes with him in the room and you lost all of your inhibitions. It's because he was so relaxed that he would pass that mood to you. Human beings are not just logical animals. We're physical. We have bodies. And our emotions, our physicality responds to the physicality of the other person. If you're not able to let go of your tightness when it comes to a woman, something's wrong with you, man. Just let go. Spend some extra money. Spend the extra 10 quid that you might need to spend on taking her to someplace different. But it signals a kind of cheapness. And it's not about money. It's about a cheapness in your spirit. She's not worth letting go. Okay, maybe you don't have that much, but my God, you have enough. It's not gonna like make, if you're that poor, then you know, okay, maybe, but probably not. You can afford it. Show that it means something to you. Seduction is a language. It's not a language of words. It's a language of gestures that we're paying attention to. We're paying attention to people's body language. We're paying attention to their actions, to the things that they never say. So when you signal that discounts are so important to you that even on the first date you have to have a discount, you're signaling there's something tight about you in your nature, and it's not very pleasant. In my book that I'm writing now, I wrote a chapter on love, which is something I've never written about, obviously. And I wrote about the sublime quality that you can have when you allow yourself to go deeper and deeper and deeper into that falling process, where you get rid of your ego, you get rid of your defenses, you get rid of all the resistance, and you just let yourself fall, and you connect to someone on that deeper level. It's a chapter on the sublime because it is a very sublime experience. And the reason I wrote it is I feel like people people are missing that now because they don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want any pain. And falling for another person and letting go of your defenses opens you up to pain. We don't want to experience that. We want to be invulnerable. It's like cutting off all the richest experiences in life. And so I wrote that chapter addressing that and say, let go of your defenses, let go of your resistance, let yourself go into that process of falling. Feel what it feels like to have your ego dissolve in the presence of another person and care more about them than you care about yourself. The feeling of falling in love is letting go of your defenses and being vulnerable. But I see a lot of younger people afraid of being vulnerable. Afraid of letting go of their defenses and just falling. We say fall in love, fall. If you get hurt, it's okay, because it's going to be a lesson that you're going to learn, and you're not going to get skittish. You're going to go into another relationship, into another one, and then eventually, hopefully, you'll find one that fits. I don't want to have like a single label of what it should be for you, because there are many different kinds of love, and they all kind of have a purpose behind them. But to get somebody to pursue you means that you are the one actually doing the work. You're the one actually in control. So it's not like you're chasing him, but you are in some ways doing that by withdrawing, by getting him to come after you. But yeah, if you're the aggressor, if you're chasing the man, that could be interesting for a man, and that might lead to sex on the first or second date, but I don't think it's going to lead to anything that it's going to be very exciting and have a lot of spice to it. Keep in mind that what excites a man is the chase itself.
Don't chase women. Focus on yourself, and the interested women will come. You don't want a woman that acts interested in you because you're chasing her. That's fake love. That's fake attraction. That's fake. You want a woman who's actually interested in you. So you have to be interested in yourself.
Women have much more to lose in a seduction than the man. Men, they'll sleep with anybody practically. A woman has much more to lose in that process. So women are wary. And so you have to overcome their wariness. You have to create some trust. And if you're an honest seducer, you're creating honest trust. But if you're a dishonest seducer, you're creating a false sense of trust. And one of the strategies that I talk about is become their friend. And when you're their friend, you don't seem so threatening. The trust element comes into play. You see them as someone who genuinely likes, for a woman, for a man who wants to be their friend. Well, on one hand, it might be insulting that he doesn't see me as attractive, but on the other hand, he wants to be my friend, and that's very kind of flattering. You get that friendship going, and then you inject something else. You start bringing in some of that sexual element, some of that erotic element, and the trust element that has been established makes it very difficult for the woman. She becomes very confused, and because she's been emotionally connected as a friend, it's like a bridge to creating a connection sexually. So starting off by lowering their wariness of you, their suspicion, by trying to be their friend means he's not just interested in sex, but he might be just interested in sex, but he's using this tactic to kind of lower your suspicions about it. The greatest seducers, male and female, were not good looking at all. What makes for a great seducer is very simple. I can summarize it very simply. When you meet somebody, you're not having that internal monologue going, does she like me or does he like me? Am I dressed well? What can I do to impress them? No. You turn it off and you're outer directed and you're listening to them and you're entering their spirit and you're hearing them say things that give you idea of what they're missing in life, of what they want, and then you can reflect it back to them. You can give them gifts, you can take them to places that show that you're attentive to them. Normally people never pay us attention. They're always so self-absorbed, they're never thinking about us. The times where you get the sense that people are actually interested in who you are as an individual is pretty rare. If you give that feeling to someone, it's incredibly powerful because we all want to be validated, we all want to be recognized.
What do you think is the most underrated human truth that a young person should know who wants control or power?
The most important skill that you can have in the work world, in the business world, and in life, knowing how to observe people and not be so wrapped up in yourself and be outer directed. When you're in a situation like you've entered a job for the first time, your tendency is to be all insecure and think, did I say the wrong thing? Am I dressing correctly? Am I fitting in? And you're not observing, you're thinking about yourself. And the whole game is to be observing of what people are doing, what they're like, what their tastes are like, what the boss is like. There are all these levels of power going on. You want to get outside of yourself and simply observe, right? And not be thinking about yourself as much. If you become an astute observer, the game will be much easier to manage, right?
Don't chase women. Don't chase her. See if she's attracted to you. I don't believe men are respected when they're chasing women. But that's the problem that we create. Women, we just don't respect men, period.
If I were a guy, the minute a woman said no to me, I would probably just walk. Like if I was trying to make an effort to get to know her and I got any kind of negative vibe, cool, cut my losses, and I would move on. And I think that's what a lot of men need to do. Because you see, if you do get that kind of woman who already knows what she wants, is a go-getter herself, or has really big dreams that she's personally trying to smash, then, this would become a really big turn-off for her. One, you're desperately looking for her attention. She's told you in more ways than one that she's not interested, but you keep pursuing because you feel as if the more you push, one day she's going to give in. No, back up. Back all the way up, my brother. Back up, because it does not work. And trust me, if you have to work too hard to get someone's attention, consider this. It actually might mean that you're coercing her into a relationship with you. Now, who wants to beg another person to be in a relationship with them, especially if they're not interested?
To be truly powerful, you don't have to go out there and grab things. You don't have to go prove yourself. All of it will come to you. People will come to you. Women will come to you. Job offers will come to you. Money will come to you. If you have this kind of inner strength, inner power that I think is the ideal for young men today in the world, for I believe for young men, and the majority of my readers, to be honest with you, are young men, and I do a lot of consulting with them, so I understand the confusion that is going on, because traditional values and traditional ideals of masculinity are evaporating, and it's very disconcerting. And so to me, the most important thing here is to, first of all, define an icon of what I would consider a virtuous masculine ideal for all of us to realize and think about. Because without a nice sense of an ideal, then we're kind of lost at sea. We don't really know where we're heading, what we want to achieve, or what we want to aim for in life. And so when I think of masculinity, or I think it means to be a man, I think in terms of, it's very weird, but I have an image of my mind of a particular Hollywood actor from the 30s and 40s. I know that sounds cliche, but let me explain it to you for a minute. His name was Gary Cooper. Now it happened he was extremely handsome, but the ideal, for so long, he kind of embodied this particular ideal. And what this ideal was, he was very soft-spoken. He didn't talk a lot. He wasn't aggressive or pushy, but he knew who he was. He knew what he wanted. He knew what was right. He knew what was wrong, and he stood for it. And he didn't assert himself and tell everyone you're wrong, etc. But when he was pushed, he was extremely strong inside. He knew who he was. He was very balanced. And if you're ever going to watch a movie, and maybe you find old movies kind of stupid, but this is a great one that really illustrates it. It's called High Noon, where he's the sheriff of this town and he has to take on all of these kind of evil bastards. Anyway, so to me the idea is you have a sense of control of your nature, of who you are. You know that you're not just about being aggressive. It's not just about picking fights and going out in the world and kind of hurting people or pushing them around. That's actually a sign of weakness. True inner strength is something that's quiet and that's calm, right? And so you don't feel the need to push people, to hurt people, to assert yourself, to show off, to show how people who show off how wealthy they are, how many fancy cars they have, are actually weak. They're actually insecure. They're actually incredibly immature. And I talk about in the laws of human nature that when you look at somebody who has very extreme qualities, like bravado, like brashness, like bragging about how great they are, by bragging about how many women they've seduced, by bragging about their fancy cars, they're actually really weak little tiny people inside. They're trying to cover up all their weaknesses, all their insecurities with bravado. But you, as a young man, you don't need any of that. When you see it, you're disgusted by it because it reveals weakness. Somebody who is truly strong inside doesn't have to show off, doesn't have to talk, doesn't have to say a lot. That was the whole thing about Gary Cooper. He never talked. You know, I say in Laws of Power, always say less than necessary. Weak people have to talk, have to brag, have to tell these things. If you're strong inside, you let your actions do the talking. You don't have to go on websites and show all the great things, that your cars, your money, your house. It speaks through your work, through the things that you have achieved, through the businesses that you have started, through the books that you have read. You don't have to do any talking. Your actions speak for themselves. So let's have certain ideals, certain standards of what we consider masculinity, or to be a strong man actually are, and to use that sort of guide us through life.